So welcome to this Nocturnal fitting guide video. In this video we're going to discuss Aftercare. I'm Scott Brown, optometrist at Scotlens. So when we see the patient for follow-up, the first thing we're going to discuss is how they found the experience of wearing the lenses and how they find their vision. A useful thing to do is to get the patients to score their vision or indeed the lens comfort out of 10, and that can often help us work out how the patient actually feels their vision is in the real world. We're going to take their visions unaided. We're then going to do their acuities and their refraction to see if there's any residual refraction or if there's any undercorrection or overcorrection. We're going to do a slit lamp exam, topography, and then we're going to schedule a follow-up based on our results. So on the slit lamp exam, we typically with night lens wearers get a clear cornea with no stain. So this is really what we're expecting to see. With very early wearers, you sometimes can get a bit more stain as their tear films are not used to wearing the lenses and they're perhaps not quite as good as getting the lenses in and out. But typically this is what we're going to see after the patients have worn the lenses for a week or more. In these two images, you can see that this is a lens imprint that we're starting to see. This tends to happen more in older patients with probably a bit more dry eye during the day, and this can be improved with management of dry eye with drops in normal daytime routine. Imprinting is not staining of the epithelial cells, it's really the tear thickness changing as you go through where the lens has been sat onto the cornea. So this is not massively of clinical significance, and again it's dry eye that we'd want to manage, daytime dry eye that we'd want to manage with the lenses, and making sure that the lenses are being inserted with a preservative-free solution. When we start to be slightly more concerned is when we've got apical staining. So the only point of the cornea that the misfitting lens can cause damage is really to the corneal apex. In this case, we've got mild grade 1 apical staining, and this quite often is caused just by debris, tear film debris from putting the lens in. But if we start to get confluent staining like we're seeing here where the lens is causing an abrasion, then this is the point where we need to discontinue wear and alter the lens so that we're not going to have any abrasive staining. If we look on to topography, so we're going to do a comparison map with the topography. So we're going to take our pre-map and our post-map. You can see here we've got the sort of classic bullseye pattern that we're expecting to see. So looking within the difference map, we're looking for a nice centered treatment zone, centered on the pupil, and we're looking for an even power distribution. So darker in the middle going towards paler blue in towards the edge of the treatment zone, and this is a kind of optimum spherical result. You can see the graph below indicates that we've got about -250 correction. Now this export map is available really with all topographers, all good topographers, where we can do a comparison map. You can see here we've got the Medment on the left and we've got the Oculus on the right, both showing similar images of pre and post wear comparison. So when we've got our comparison, we don't always get a perfect result, the bullseye pattern. We can also get the high spot, which is a centered pattern, or we can get some decentered patterns. So this high spot is relatively common, and typically we've got the case scenario in the right where we've got a little bit too much apical clearance for the patient. This tends to result in a slight undercorrection, so we're going to see a bit of residual minus prescription there. And we have this soft kind of high spot within the treatment zone area. So this means that the lens fit is has got too much apical clearance, so we're going to adjust the lens fit to account for that. If, however, we see the image on the left, this is where we've got a high spot. You can see the topography, it shows a bit more demarcated and it's a smaller zone. And this is where there's apical touch. So this is quite uncommon given how the lenses are designed. But if we've got this, then we'd need to discontinue wear and would order a lens with increased sagittal depth. So that's centered treatment zones where we've got the bullseye or the high spot. We can also have decentered treatment zones. You can see this image at the top. It's where the lens is slightly high, a smiley face pattern. In the bottom left, where it's lateral writing, usually because of the angle kappa, angle lambda, or we've got a frowny face where the lens is sitting slightly low. Again, some decentration is anticipated from either the corneal apex or from the visual axis on the cornea from our pre-assessment. But with higher prescriptions, sometimes decentration can cause glare, residual prescription. If we've got good acuity, then we can tolerate decentered patterns. So we're not going to adjust the lens just because we've got bad topography. Again, the purpose of night lenses is to give the patient good quality or acceptable quality vision. So from the follow-up, we're going to schedule either a routine follow-up because the patient's getting on fine and we're happy with the result, or we're going to need to make an adjustment. So if we're going to make an adjustment, send the spherical equivalent refraction if there's any undercorrection or overcorrection. You can also send the full prescription, but if there was any astigmatism before, we're going to expect to see that residual cell being the same. So we're really more interested from the point of view of lens adjustments in the spherical equivalent refraction. Detail if there's any corneal staining, and then export the topography PDF, and we can help you design a lens for the patient to wear. If you're ordering a new lens, then best thing to do is to have the patient collect that lens and then review after a few nights of wear. So if you want more information on nocturnal lenses, keep watching this video series. If you'd like any other information, email lab@scotlens.com, and thanks for watching.